Dyno day. Big moment here. Cross your fingers. Or guess how much power you think it's gonna make. 632 all aluminum big block Chevy, naturally aspirated, about 14-to-1 compression. What's it gonna make at the flywheel?
A little bit drip of water.
Did you?
Yeah, look at that. Watch. Do it again.
Well, damn. It was pretty warm last night when I went to bed. I woke up to this. Perfect day to dyno a motor. Let's go. Today we are at Gibbons Performance in Mooresville, North Carolina. We are here to dyno test Side Chicks engine. This is an engine machining and building facility. And as you can see, they are very busy. They got CNC machines, manual machines, engine carts everywhere, full of cool stuff. These guys specialize in dynoing a lot of high RPM small blocks, LSs. They've got customers that rate NHRA Factory X, that new class for factory appearing door cars that are hauling butt. They've done some boat motors, but that's not their specialty. So today will be a little bit of something out of their norm. And the reason we're here is Pete Harrell does not have an engine dyno. He has a chassis dyno. So he sends engines here all the time that he wants to verify as being happy before they go out the door to the customer. Maybe you've never seen this motor before, but back in 2022 or 23, I forget, I bought a carbon fiber Cheyenne jet boat that was built by my friend Andy Rawls. Bought it from the LeCamp family, specifically Joe LeCamp, and it is a beautiful boat. And the motor had just been refreshed. This is a Dart Big M aluminum block, Dart Big Chief cylinder heads, HRE tunnel ram, Holley Gen 3 Dominators, MSD ignition, CP pistons, Carrillo rods. It has a daily dry sump oil pump. It was originally a bullet cam that was reground by Iski and then reground again by Mike Jones recently. This thing should make damn good power. I took this motor out of the drag boat and put the Sonny Leonard motor in the drag boat because I was over it. I was tired of all the Valvetrain problems. I was tired of all the broken parts. I was tired of going drag boat racing and not having fun. The last straw was at World Finals 2 years ago. It dropped a valve 5 passes after I got it back from the builder. I noticed we had a spark plug that looked like it wasn't firing. Now we're gonna take the valve cover off, see if the rocker arm's still attached. So yeah, broken push rod, maybe bent a valve after the push rod broke, not sure. And at that point I just was like, I was done, I took it home. But then Pete convinced me that it could be reliable, imagine that.
Right.
When we ripped it apart at my house, we discovered the skirts of the pistons were hitting the counterweights of the crank. We discovered the exhaust valves were touching the pistons. The head of the valve is sideways. It should not be there. You should see the back side of the valve. You shouldn't be seeing the face of the valve.
And maximum airflow right there.
Yes. And if you look at the guide, there's a chunk of the guide missing, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you come over here,
this one's doing the same
there's a chunk
thing.
of that guide missing. And when I measured P to V, I found 125, 130 thousandths piston to valve clearance and started scratching my head going, why are these touching? It's a little tight, but it's not that tight. And I started questioning whether we had control of the valves and maybe they were bouncing off the seats and maybe that's why we had the interference. And then I took the motor to Peter. Peter started looking at it and found all kinds of other stuff that was wrong with it, including cylinder heads where one side is threaded all the way into the chamber for the spark plug and the other side that's only threaded 1/2 of an inch. So the spark plugs never actually bottomed out and smashed the crush washer of the spark plugs.
Well, on one side.
Just one side of the motor.
The other side, they went in like too far.
Yeah, the one side they're threaded all the way into the chamber and the spark plugs are actually in the chamber. The other side, they never bottomed out the crush washer. And so this motor, it's had a lot of hands on it over the years and none of them were stellar in my opinion. Peter has gone through it, he has rebuilt it, he has fixed a lot of things.
Yeah, now we got steel rockers, among other things, that are new. Valve situation should be better. So
yeah. But essentially same compression.
All that's the same pretty much. Hopefully just smoother operating Valvetrain.
Yeah.
Lots of crazy stuff going on.
You know, we're at a dyno, so we got to make some predictions. This is a 632 cubic inch, naturally aspirated big block Chevy with Dart 11 or 12 degree Big Chief Pro Stock style heads, two 1250 Dominators on an HRE tunnel ram. It has CP pistons, Carrillo rods, a Sonny Bryant crank. It's really nice stuff. It should make 1250 in my opinion.
Probably so.
I think.
Yeah.
When I bought it, it was advertised as making 1300, but based on the way the boat ran, I don't think it made 1300 while I owned it because of all the issues it had. So if it made 1300, I'm gonna run around in the snow buck naked today. There's no snow. But I'll celebrate in some way, shape, or form if this thing makes 1300. We are running it on Factory NOS Max racing fuel. We're gonna tune the carbs for that fuel because ultimately I'd like to put nitrous on it. That fuel is not optimum for this. You know, if we had some oxygenated fuel, it would make more power, NA.
And the camshaft is a nitrous cam as well.
Right. And that was the other thing you did is you took the cam to Mike Jones, he reground it.
Yeah.
It's less aggressive.
Yeah, it had some kind of sketchy ramps and stuff before. So that's been addressed. That should be smoother operating.
And that cam's probably why the valves were bouncing.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say for sure exactly what, but like that definitely looked like it could for sure be a problem.
And keep in mind, this is going in my jet boat. It doesn't turn a lot of RPM. Like naturally aspirated, this thing will probably turn 7,300 RPM. It's not like we're twisting this thing to the moon and the valves are floating. These valves were floating at the World Finals at 6,500 RPM. That's how screwed up this motor was.
Like we'll turn these things 9,000 with turbo.
Yeah.
You know, and like we'll live to tell about it. You know.
In that boat, if you were to turn this 9,000, the boat's gonna go 150 miles an hour. Right. It's gonna be an animal. Like I'm cool with 8,500. You know, just a little less cowbell. Right. Anyway, we just got it on the dyno. We're about to leak check it, fired up for the first time. Cross your fingers. But first, we need to put fuel in it. We brought 15 gallons of Factory NOS Max. And I've never run this, so let's find out what happens without nitrous. So once again, we're not spraying this today. We're not even plumbed for it. This intake has no provisions for direct port nitrous injection. How you doing? Oh, you are cute. Yeah. It's a vicious dog, Pete. Vicious. Card and everything. If you guys have never seen or been to a dyno, this is kind of the basic rundown of it. There's a console outside of a room. The room is constructed in such a way that it will provide fresh air to the engine and a path for the exhaust to escape the building. And it has a giant machine bolted to the back of the engine that, in short, will absorb the torque of the engine. Then the computer will calculate how fast the engine can accelerate a given load. And based on that, it will tell you mathematically how much power the engine is producing. This one's pretty cool. They have provisions for 8 O2 sensors, one in each primary tube of our header. So we should have, if we have enough time, we should be able to do some carburetor tuning and try to get each cylinder of the engine to operate similarly and efficiently. So in a minute here, they're gonna fire it up and check for leaks and break in the motor. That's the other thing that's cool about a dyno is if you go there, you can break the motor in, seat the rings, check for leaks. By the time it's ready to go in your car, truck, boat, or scooter, you'll know your engine is happy and healthy if you take it to an engine dyno. Not cheap though. Depending on where you go, an engine dyno session can be between $1,000 and $3,000 per day, depending on where you're at and who's doing the work. But if you have the means, it's a great way to verify the health and performance of your engine. She is plumbed. We have the oil being preheated here. We're now going to check for fuel leaks. So far, so good.
think you were going the right way the first time because you.
I can't ever see the fuel level.
Well,
The whole time we were doing it, I'm like, I see the float.
Well, because it was full the whole time.
I went down,
well,
and I still didn't see it. And
right.
I'm like, maybe we just hadn't burned it out or
right.
used
it.
At any
sure, when you were coming down with it, we should have started to watch the level come down.
I never saw it.
The thing is just slam full and then.
Like right here.
Yeah,
you can see it. I'm gonna lower it. So the boosters are leaking and I can't see fuel there, so let's pull the bowl off. I have pretty good news. Just made a warm-up, like half pull to like 5,500 RPM. It already made 900 horsepower at just 5,500, that's good news. That's a pretty decent number. And so now they're gonna run it to 6,500. Basically, you're braking in the motor, you're seating the rings. After that, we'll dump the oil, check the valve lash. If everything's happy and healthy, then they'll start really pulling it. Peter, we're going to 6,500?
Yeah.
Okay.
5 to 6,500.
5 to 6,500.
Say the one thing I remember is we have all
those rods. Is that rod moving?
Yeah, they are.
See the nut.
That too.
All right, everybody, we had to stop because the vibration, these jam nuts weren't jammed, and the vibration was such that this bar spun, unthreaded this rod end about a 3/8 of an inch. The rear carburetor, this spun and unthreaded completely, and the linkage actually fell apart, and this went back to idle. So that last pull was with 1.5 carburetor, I guess. All right, but we're back. Great news. We've already made 1150 at just 6,600 RPM. So it's already happier than it was when we went to World Finals, what was that, 2 years ago? So that's good news. That was just a half pull to 6,500. Now we're gonna dump the brake-in oil, change that, clean out the filter, pull the valve covers, check the valve lash, and if everything is happy and checks out, then we really start leaning on it.
It's some pretty sporty looking valve covers you got there.
Right? The boat is the one thing in my life that I care how it looks because it's kind of nice, and I'm like, yeah. And when I bought it, this was already done. The dude's helmet matched the valve covers matched the boat. So when he was sitting in the boat, it was just stripes from his helmet to his motor. They all flowed, and I was like, yes, I need that too. So I've never had a custom painted helmet. I had my helmet painted so that my stripes matched his stripes.
Okay, so I just saw a little bit of drip of water.
Did you?
Yeah, look at that. Watch. Do it again. Yep. Wait, that's a higher. Is that out of the ceiling?
A little bit of drama. Not big drama, but something. Ooh, there it went. It just did it. So if you guys notice, this head's been welded before because if you recall, back in the day when I first bought this boat with this motor, these heads were leaking water. Cylinder head. This is an 11-degree dark Big Chief cylinder head.
Just you know what I think.
This cylinder here,
look right there. Okay.
the casting's porous or there's a crack, one or the other, but the head is leaking right here under the valve cover and water is just streaming in. And Andy Rolls welded the head up right there. Well, now it's leaking water from higher up, and it kind of looks like it's coming from the rocker stand. Yeah, right there. And so maybe we're gonna look and see if the stand mounting bolt goes into water somehow, and that's why there's water coming out from underneath the stand. Pete saw that, thank God.
You just happen to see it through up there.
Because otherwise, we just start milkshaking the motor again and wondering where it all came from again. Another good reason to dyno the motor. Find the water leaks. All right, so we're gonna move the rocker arm, the rocker stand, and then when the stand comes off, we're either gonna see a crack or that bolt's gonna end up leading into water somehow. I'm hoping that. I hope it's just some thread sealant.
That'd be nice.
That'd be great if that was it. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll put it on the cart over here. Oh God, so much water is coming out of here now. It was all the way up the stand, or all the way up the bolt hole. Wow, that was a lot of water.
Still want to get the stand off, just look at it.
Yeah.
Well, that's most of it.
That's all
It's
pressure
mostly
release.
drained. Yeah, well, it's mostly drained even. Too.
It's come down. It was even with the top of the rocker stand. Now it's gone. So that's good news. So that's the weld repair from the porous head casting from a year or two ago. What we have now is the water's coming up the rocker stand where the bolt goes in. So either that bolt goes into water or something's
Probably
cracked.
that, and maybe a little freaking. I was just working on programming stuff and they're coming back.
It's dark down there. Goes in the water maybe?
Got a light, maybe we can.
It's just coincidence that it's on the welded
Yeah. Yeah,
area.
it wasn't the weld. It was,
Yeah.
wow. I wonder if there's any others. That bolt, that hole is,
Probably that one. You can see it. They're sitting there with 20, 25 pounds of pressure on it.
yeah, look, I put the whole zip tie in there. It's going to another dimension.
Yeah.
It's in the multiverse right now. There's 9 Peter Pans and
So we got shims that are
8
made
Spider-Mans.
to fit these now, and these burn out.
Hey.
They're all special.
Should we brake clean the hole and then put sealant in the hole?
Can. That should just run right down in there. Just take brake clean, just spray it down in there, you know? It'll run inside the water.
Yeah, since it's not a blind hole, the air pressure won't shove the sealant out. So yeah, it'll go with the bolt. As soon as the throttle linkage wouldn't work, everything just went sideways.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely. No, that's usually how it goes in there.
All right,
I'll need some juice.
do your worst. All right, buddy, seal up, please. We got more pulls to make today. You don't get to quit early.
Now we need some kind of a torque wrench.
Torque
What,
apparatus. Yeah, torque
So
that
this
down,
is
put that back
probably
together,
25 or so.
and then more pulls. I was dynoing one of my motors once. Actually, the day before, I was assembling one of my motors. And this is back when I didn't have a shop. I rented a storage unit, and it closed at 6 p.m. at night. Like, you're out.
Right.
And, you know, it's for storage. It's not for building motors, you know. But,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm doing in there. And so at 5 o'clock, the nice old lady who ran the place was like, 1 hour. And I was literally dropping lifters in the motor. I was so far away from being done, but I was like, okay. And I had a camper shell in the bed of my truck. And so I hoisted the motor in the bed of my truck, threw the lifters in it, loaded up all the parts, went outside into the parking lot and finished building the motor in the bed of my truck. So the next day on the dyno, we'd made like 14 pulls, motor's making decent power. We stop, change the oil, and as soon as we made the next pull, it was down 25. pull it again, down 50. Pull it again, down 75. I'm like, what in the hell is happening? Cut open the oil filter, it's full of metal. What in the hell is going on with this thing? I've measured everything. I've measured all the clearances. I know this thing's right. It's eating itself up, right? We pull the intake off, looking at all the lifters, and I'm like, what the hell is up with that lifter over there? And that was the day that I discovered that a pair of big block Chevy tie bar lifters, if you flip them upside down and rotate them the other way, they go in with the wheels at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, buddy.
And they will last for 14 pulls on a dyno.
Yeah, they sure will.
Oh my God, I feel like a dumbass. So I had to go home and tear the whole thing apart. It's just so efficient. It's not even using it.
Right.
I'm like, it moved a little bit, and then all of a sudden it was like, yep, I'm gonna gulp some fuel. Oh, it's at 1190.
Right at like 12.
What's that teal hole? Is that?
Which? This is right when it gets going.
No, I mean the teal. Which cylinder's that?
6. 8. Yeah.
What was the highest lean part of the number 6?
It
Yeah,
was
the top
right at the very end of the run right here.
What is that there?
What's the number?
Basically, it's fat everywhere.
Yeah, 12.35 right there.
Huh.
Yeah, it looks good. The rest of it's
No,
flat.
I mean it's pretty. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
We need to
what's
bleed
the
out
yellow
The rest
one?
of them up there.
What are the yellow ones down there?
Which yellow?
I don't know.
Got orange.
How fat is it? How fat are the other ones?
11.6.
Yeah, it sounds happy for once.
Starting to kind of get up, flatten out there a bit, but
We could probably take some jet away from it. Cylinder number 5 had what?
100.
Yeah.
And 7 would be 95.
This is weird. So we had a 110 jet, cylinder number 8, and a 95 in number 6. We had an 86 in number 2 and an 88 in number 4, a 91 in cylinder number 1, and a 100 in number 3.
So overall, we got like a 22 points.
Dude. Yeah, from an 86 to a 110. 24 point spread. Is this football?
Yeah.
Jesus, thought we were building race motors here.
I know.
Okay. Everyone gets a 92 and we'll try again. Would you believe this made 1,192 horsepower at 7,200 RPM with wildly different air fuel ratios cylinder to cylinder? We had one that read 13 to 1 and a whole bunch that read 11 to 1. And we thought, this is strange, so we pulled the bowls off the carbs and found jets ranging in sizes from a 110 back here to an 86 over here to a 91 there and a 100 jet there. Like, they're everywhere. So we're putting 92s in every corner and starting again. I bet the spark plugs start looking the same now. It's a really good manifold. We're gonna treat it like a really good manifold.
It's like we're some swapping carburetors here. Just hook whatever jets you got, throw them in there. Put them on Craigslist, right?
I don't even have a 110 jet compartment in my container. Like for you folks at home, like I have a Holley Jet kit, and it's great. It's numbered. you know, it's got a compartment for everything. Well, it only goes to 199. It only goes to 99. But I have some in the baggies, like 102s. Like I have some aggressive jets here. What I don't have is a fire hose 110 jet. Like, look at that. That's outstanding. It's actually impressive. So we took all these out and we put number 92s on both ends of the carburetors, and we're gonna make another pull and see what happens. The other thing that's weird, and we talked about this earlier, is that these heads, one side is only threaded part way, so you only have a 1/2 inch of thread engagement. The other side is threaded all the way into the chamber, and the spark plugs actually go in too far. So you've got one side of the motor where the crush washer doesn't get crushed because the plug won't go all the way in, and the other side that you've got to stick shims in there to keep the plug from going all the way into the combustion chamber. And so yeah, about to change spark plugs and put all these shims on all these new spark plugs. Colin, what do you think it's going to do this time?
You know, I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot more close on the air-fuel ratios. Now that the thing's kind of squared away, we can have a better idea of what's going on and, you know, how the intake is going to like the fuel mixture and all that.
12.
We took a lot of jet out of it. This will be an interesting test. One cylinder, we went from a 110 jet to a 92. It's down 70, but I mean, we took a ton of jet out of it.
I don't know if it's
Okay, so we made a massive jet change, but also I think the carb linkage might not be going wide open. Oh, did one of the bowls get put back on wrong? These all look correct.
Oh, this is gonna find right here. It's catching.
Oh, what the hell?
Oh, it's slid over and it's hitting the bolt.
Yeah, what happened?
So this arm belongs over here.
It just needs to be over and
Yeah,
locked down.
it's fixed. We just need to lock it down. It's
Lock it
slid
down,
this
it
way.
just slid over.
Oh, shit.
So that probably stopped you from going wide open.
Yeah, I was like, something didn't feel the same.
So we need that little Allen wrench off the table there.
Cheated us.
Right? It didn't want us to know the answer.
Yeah.
You don't get to just change jets and make a pull and find out information. So we didn't have wide open throttle, now we have it. We'll try again. Oh, I saw it go over 12. Ooh. I think I like that.
Yeah.
1192 with a whole lot less jet. Hello.
That was in our, yeah, let's get rid of that. That one makes us look good.
Yeah, that makes us look like geniuses.
I know, wait, it was,
2
peak
and
was like rate which is wild, but that's
yeah.
I mean, it's better.
What are our air fuels now?
Well, I was gonna say 2 is looking like one of the leaner cylinders here. It's averaging 13.5. It was kind of tickling 14 here.
Oh, hello. All right.
No, this is where we are here.
No, it was this right here.
Oh,
This was after you let off. And it,
no.
because you hit, as soon as it started recording, you hit it. Wow.
No,
And then you let off.
no, no.
Okay, so it made 1192, virtually the same power, with a whole lot less jet in it, but now we have cylinders that, at least according to the O2 sensors, are too lean. They're 13 to 1. So we're gonna pull number 6, which was our leanest before, and now we're gonna pull number 8 and number 2, because 8 and 2 are pretty darn lean now. Okay, we just put 4 more jet sizes in cylinder number 2 and number 8, or at least the carburetor venturis that feed cylinder number 2 and number 8, because those cylinders are running 13 to 1. Hopefully this gets it down to like 12.5 to 1 and maybe make some power. Let's see. This could be what puts it over 1200. Cross your fingers. On your way, Pete. You can come. I don't believe that changed anything. It's very repeatable. What do we make?
This keeps looking a little smoother there too.
What did we make? 1197 the last time?
Gaining a couple at a time.
So when we had the crazy jets, it made what, 11? I don't even remember.
It made close to the same peak, but it was right here. It was all slot. Yeah, cleaned it up here.
So it should accelerate better.
Yeah, because I mean, you look how nice that looks.
Yeah.
It's brought both cylinder 2 and cylinder 8 lines down to 13 and a half. So
sounds like it still needs more.
Right, yeah, it's closed the gap of the lines.
Yeah, back up to 100.
Are you able to overlay the one before with this one? Maybe with just those 2 cylinders? Did jetting those cylinders affect the other ones? I'm curious about that.
I'm not as good on this one as I am with the grid, maybe. No. Channel mirror.
Still, we're pulling out of it right kind of at peak now because it's, you know, it's peaking right there. I think it's kind of done, but yeah, we are stopping the test right now.
I'm not 1,000,000% sure how to
You
do
can wind
that.
it a little further if you want, see what happens. Rate is down from 110 to 100. I saw 1200 briefly, I think. Boom! 1200 exactly.
1208.
Oh, 1208.
It's
Hello.
got its second wind right there.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's ready for another gear.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Well, that might, if we go more, because I think it's kind of letting off, you know, because I have the test going to 74.
Yeah.
So it went over, but it was just, they just kind of spike that sometimes.
Yeah.
When you're making power right at the end, you know, the end of the test like that.
Sometimes the tuning situation will make it look like it's done.
Yeah.
So
we've started to
Except
level
like if they
the
went
thing
in
out.
and
You
then
know,
this
we're
is kind of
bringing
like that.
getting
the
closer
spread
together.
a lot, closer and closer. My only
likes to
concern,
kinda
because
be
as
like
you can
a
kind of
hand
see,
over
cylinder 2 starts to come around with the
You
group,
know,
but
Yeah.
8 isn't quite as much, and I almost, is it the different size needle and seat, in the back.
Let's find out. Let's pull that needle and seat out and put the other one back in real quick and just see if that helps that. Because maybe it's out of needle and seat in number 8. So just made 1,200 horsepower on the nose. It looks like cylinders 4 and 6 and 1357 are all hanging out around 11.5, 12 to 1, somewhere in that area. Yep. So we're going to take some fuel away from those holes, and then we just made a pull with 100 jets in cylinder 2 and number 8, and it didn't seem to like that, so we're going to take some fuel back out of those. So I'm thinking 96s for 2 and 8, and then we're at 92 everywhere else. I want to pull 4 out of all those, and then make one more pull and see, does it like it? We're kind of so close on the fueling now that all these changes are making very minute differences. It's more about just making it happy at this point, not trying to find even more power. One more pull. All right, everybody, I think it's our last pull, I think. Just made a pretty good jet change, taking fuel away from the entire engine. It's already made 1,200 exactly at 7,300. Let's see what it does now.
Well, I'll tell you, it did stuff there.
Stuff that it may or may not have liked.
Yeah.
Well, we've raised our line for sure. I mean...
See, our best was actually 10 there.
Wow, I did not like that up top.
No. Yeah, they've heard it there. I mean...
It's raised the
10,
lines up,
but-
and it's you know, it's leaned everything out. But it almost looks like everybody in the family could go back to, you know.
You're splitting hairs back and forth.
I mean, you go, yeah, but I mean, just...
You are, but what's the difference between 10 and 12 up there up top where it looks like a...
I mean, you'd rather it be, I mean, on the richer side of things and making power than...
Yeah, I mean, we took
your
jet out, fell
running out.
off. Our nicest was still here.
And this is but this is the nicest as far as like...
Yeah, but our...
What's the difference in power between number 10 and number 12? Right there at that point you're looking at?
10, 11.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of all 11. I mean, it heard it up top, like it must...
We're 1208,
15.
4, right?
Yeah, up here it was... Yeah.
Wants
This is like 5, this is like 12, 15 right here.
Yeah.
10.
wants the fuel.
Yep. Like the fuel.
So,
I mean, then we went the other way when we were jetting on it, and then it fell down to the red. So, I mean, it was happiest here at that run 10. And that was our nicest looking.
Unfortunately, I wasn't writing down run numbers, but I'm guessing that was 96 jets in 2 and 8, and then 92s everywhere else.
Yeah. That's what that one was, yeah.
Okay. Because this pull was 96 jets there, but we went down to 88s everywhere else.
Yeah, our best one was the very first change we made.
Yeah, it was this we picked up from run.
Yeah, after we squared it off and then
8,
we
9.
changed it.
Yeah, we
once.
squared it, and then, yeah, that adjustment there, and then all the other stuff.
Yeah, we squared it with 92s. Cylinders 2 and 8 were lean. So we put 96s in it. Then we went to 100s. Then we went back to 96s, but also took 88s and everything.
Right, and it liked it the first time when we went.
96s in 2 and 8, and 88s or 92 everywhere else.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's easy. That's our 1200 horsepower tune-up. Well, I don't know if this thing ever really made 1300, but it sure does make 1200 pretty good. So here's the deal. It makes 1200 horsepower, or damn close to it, at about 7,200 RPM, with pistons, rings, end gaps, and a crank and a cam that's ready for a pretty good shot of nitrous. And as far as I know, there's no broken parts in there, which is really all I care about at this point. Thanks, Pete.
Do it again. That's it.
Do it again, yeah. Oh my God. We might get through a whole race weekend with this now. Okay, what did we learn today? We learned that whether it has 110 jet in one corner or a 96, It really doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, Bryce.
It's gonna make 1,196-ish horsepower, which, you know, new math, carry the one, round up, is 1,200 horsepower.
Right, so jetting your carburetor, waste of time.
It kind of was. We're like, these jets are a mess. Let's move them. Let's get them all the same here and here and here. And it really didn't matter whether we ran those quarter cylinders at 13.5 to 1 or 12.9 to 1.
Didn't change much.
No, power was the same.
Right, it's close enough to go race it and play with it.
Yeah, yeah. So the next thing will be to put this thing back in the boat, go run it at my local lake. Great thing about a jet drive and a tachometer is it's kind of like a dyno. Whatever it turns with the fully loaded jet pump is, you know, kind of where it's at. It's gonna, if it turns 7,300, I will believe every bit of what the dyno says.
Right, yeah.
You know.
And if you can make a jet adjustment and turn 7,350, that generally means you're faster.
Yes, yes. More RPM, more power.
Right.
And so the big thing with this whole deal was, as you guys remember, I was ready to just completely can the top end of this motor. I wanted nothing to do with these heads because I was tired of push rods breaking, valves dropping, valve springs breaking, rocker arms falling off. Like, it was just a nightmare. And Pete had the cam reground, put it all back together with all new Jesel Valvetrain, shimmed to the right heights, the right geometry. It survived the dyno. Why won't it survive drag strip?
Nice, yeah.
So I'm stoked.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's good. No problem. That's what we're here for.
About all I can do for you is buy you dinner. Gotta be honest. That's where my skills end, right there. Steak.
Right.
So we'll pull it off the dyno, and then we'll make another video down the road for you guys of this thing going back in the boat and then running. In the meantime, we have a lot of other cars to work on, namely the Cadillac and the giveaway wagon, and God knows what else Joe bought when I was out of town. My wife just buys shoes. Those are easy. And if you're wondering what it cost to dyno test your engine, here you go. $1,250 plus tax. And when you think about it, that's not a bad deal. Those dudes spent 4 hours the night before we dyno tested it, setting it up on the dyno. The morning of the dyno test, I spent 4 hours with them getting the carburetor linkage hooked up to their dyno, and then plumbing for the fuel system, the water system, all that. Like, there was at least 8 hours of just getting that engine bolted onto their dyno and ready to run before we ever made a pull. And then we made 12 pulls. I provided the fuel, the oil, the carburetor, jets, the spark plugs, like all the consumables. But in terms of them owning the machine, the labor, the tuning advice, like, you know, for $1,250, I found out I had a water leak in a cylinder head that I probably wouldn't have found right away because it was a small leak, it was just dribbling. And then I would have struggled at the track or my lake trying to figure out where that was coming from and milkshaking my motor again. And then just, you know, checking timing, checking valve lash, checking, you know, carb jetting, air fuel ratios, all that is way easier to do on the dyno. Now granted, when it comes off the dyno and goes in the boat, now you're on my fuel system, my cooling system. There's some variation there and it won't be perfect. We'll have to jet the carbs at the lake depending on what the weather is like and the elevation of wherever we're racing. But we're much closer now, having tested it on a dyno and made sure the motor is happy, rather than pick it up from Pete's, take it home, put it in the boat and discover, you know, whatever problems that could have arised. I don't know. Anyway, money well spent, totally stoked on this. Can't wait to put it in the boat and run it for you guys. We're probably gonna have to head out south to Florida, maybe go visit Kevin Smith or Cletus to run this thing, because it's 30 degrees in Georgia and there's no water in my local lake, or at least not enough to really run that boat. So yeah, the next time you see it, we'll put it together, fire it up, and then find a place to test it. And in the meantime, back to work on the cars.